guys, Ethan here with All Talk with Jeds. I'm here to do a UFC 239 preview. At the time of this recording, it is the 4th of July, so happy Independence Day, y'all. So unlike the last card, we won't be doing just about all the prelims. We're going to shorten this up to 7 fights just because this card isn't as stacked from top to bottom as the last card. But yeah, let's get into them. Okay, first fight we're going to preview is Claudia Gadelha versus Ronda Marcos. This one's not as interesting as it could be. Claudia Gadelha has kind of fallen off her past couple fights. I want to say since the Carolina fight. She's been kind of up and down, and her performances have been kind of meh compared to the #1 contender we saw a couple years ago. Could have a lot to do with that boob job she got, but hey, let's move past that. Ronda Marcos, she's been kind of hit or miss her whole career, but her last couple fights I've noticed she's kind of turned it on a little bit, kind of finding her prime and peak there. So we'll see what happens. As far as predictions go, I think Marcos might be the favorite, but I'm going to go ahead and put my faith in Claudia for this one. Alright, the next fight we're going to preview is Gilbert Melendez versus Arnold Allen. This is the top prelim fight for the ESPN portion of the card. This fight's interesting for a lot of reasons. We got Gilbert Melendez here. This is his second fight at 145. He's very long in the tooth, you know. At one time for about five years, he was a top 5, top 3 lightweight in the world, you know, Strikeforce champion, you name it. All that good stuff. And then we got Arnold Allen here. I don't know too much about him. I did see his fight with Makwan Amirkhani. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Don't know for sure, sorry. But yeah, he's a scrappy dude. He's pretty well rounded everywhere. As far as predictions goes, Gilbert's been kind of on the downswing, man. Like, not really as much of a downswing as much as guys have just kind of figured out how to beat him. But yeah, man, for a young guy like Arnold Allen, I think he's going to be able to take what guys like Edson Barboza and Jeremy Stevens were able to do with Gilbert Melendez and just put that into fruition here, especially with Gilbert coming off a long layoff too. My pick is Arnold Allen by probably decision. Gilbert's tough, but yeah, I could see a finish here too. Next fight we got, it's the first fight on the main card, Diego Sanchez versus Michael Chiesa. This fight is surprisingly interesting, man, because Diego, once again, another guy that is pretty long into his career. He's been here for about 15 years now, since first winner of the Ultimate Fighter. People say Forrest Griffin's the original Ultimate Fighter, but Diego did win it before him on the same night, so I'd say he's the original Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, he's been his fight with Mickey Gall kind of showed that he's still got some stuff to show, you know. He can still offer the sport some good scraps and all that, some good wins and all that. And then we got Michael Chiesa, who is just making the move up from 155. Dude was pretty big for the weight class, so it was a much needed move. And he looked good in his first 170-pound fight against my favorite fighter, Carlos Condit. That was such a heartbreaker, man, I swear. But anyways, this fight's interesting because I'd say they're both primarily grapplers. That's where I would favor both of them, but since they're both, that's kind of their specialty, I don't know who's going to win that part of the ground. But Diego's never been submitted, whereas Chiesa has a couple times now. So if Chiesa has any new fashionable stand-up that he can show off here, this fight might be the time to prove it. As far as predictions go, this is a pretty close fight, even with Diego being as long into his career as he is. But I'm going to go ahead and pick Chiesa, you know. For the most part, he's looked pretty consistent, and yeah, I think he's going to make a decent run at 170. All right, we got the second fight on the main card. Luke Rockhold, the King of Salt, versus Jan Blachowicz. This will be Luke Rockhold's first fight at 205. And even though Jan doesn't have a big name, this isn't an easy outing for him, man. Before his last fight with Thiago Santos, who's fighting John Jones, Jan was looking like he was in that upper echelon of that division. So, yeah, this is definitely no easy outing for Rockhold, but I will go ahead and probably predict that he wins this. I just think he's going to be, even though he's coming up from 185, I think he's going to be able to keep his range with his kicks, and any ground exchanges, I think that'll probably favor him too. All right, third fight on the main card, the People's Fight, George Masvidal versus Ben Askren. I say People's Fight because they did do a poll on Twitter asking the fans what was their most anticipated fight for this card, and they got the highest votes, even more so than the Amanda Nunes Holly Holm fight and the Jones fight. So yeah, this is a very interesting fight as far as who gets the next title fight. You know, it probably should have been Colby Covington, but now they're not so sure. They're saying the winner of this could get Kamaru Usman next. George Masvidal is probably one of my favorite fighters on the whole UFC roster right now, but this is a tough matchup for him. Askren's a tough matchup for anybody with his wrestling and grappling style. But this isn't a terrible match for Masvidal because, unlike Robbie Lawler, he's not going to run straight into that grappling style fight. You know, I felt like even though Robbie's a puncher and a brawler, he's just kind of let Askren run his game on him, even though he got that slam and the ground and pound off. But that whole fight took place at close range, and Masvidal, I don't think he's going to allow that if he has any say in it. He's going to do his best to keep distance, pop that jab in Askren's face, keep him circling, and yeah, as far as predictions go, this one's tough for me because, like I said, Masvidal is one of my favorite fighters on the UFC roster, but I'll go ahead and slightly favor Askren here. It'll be a tough fight, I'm sure. If you guys seen Masvidal's fight with Damian Maia, you know he's no slouch when it comes to these high-level grapplers, but I think Askren might squeak this one out, just maybe. All right, on to the co-main event now. We got Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holm. Amanda Nunes, I think she kind of stole the GOAT status as far as women goes from Ronda Rousey and Chris Cyborg, man. Obviously, she beat both of them, so that puts her up there. And I think this Holm fight is just kind of just another name to put on her hit list at this point. I'm not completely counting Holly Holm out, but she's one of those fighters that I think that the way to beat her has kind of been figured out at this point. Even Chris Cyborg shut it off. I'm going to pick Nunes here by a pretty solid decision. Yeah, like I said, I just think that the way to beat Holm has been kind of figured out, and this is just another fight to solidify Amanda Nunes' GOAT status among the women at this point. All right, main event time. We got John Jones versus Thiago Santos. I fucking hate John Jones, man. Like, he's got the names on his resume, yeah, so I guess that goes as far into his GOAT status as you can say, but with how many times he's tested positive for whatever the fuck is in his system at this point, and now he's pulsing, I don't think he's the GOAT in MMA or any of that, but he'll probably win this. You know, I give Thiago Santos a bit of a better chance than Anthony Smith did. That fight was just and I think this fight will go as much of the same way, except Santos is a bit more of a wild man than Smith was. if Santos was going to try anything tricky out, I would like to see him try some head kicks out, because the couple times we've seen people throw them at John, they have hit. Rashad Evans, who's 5'11", hit John with a freaking head kick, and Anthony Smith caught him with one too. So yeah, if Thiago's going to try anything to give him any chance here, I'd say kicks, specifically head kicks, but his kicking game overall is pretty darn good. So, but yeah, overall, I just think John's going to be too much for him, man. He is good, I don't deny that, but with probably everything that's running through his system at this point, and USADA's letting him get the go-ahead, he'll probably win this pretty easily. Alright, that wraps up my preview here, guys. Make sure you check in next week, and I will do a review of the card more than likely. And yeah, this has been Ethan with All Talk with Jeds, and have a happy 4th of July. Peace.